Oh yeah, HOKA Zinal 2. About time, my little friend. The original HOKA Zinal was a sneaky little trail beast that surprised me when it was released. A light and low option oddly named after a hyper-technical Euro race, the Zinal felt perfect for those dry single-track days when ground feel was ideal. The Zinal 2 takes from the Zinal what did well and warps it into something both enchanting and scrappy. A fun, reduced stack of EVA midsole keeps the foot comfortable and ground feel present, while the classic Vibram light-based lugs offer enough grip for drier conditions. The upper is a thin plasticine mesh with a stretch knit collar and limited lacing system to attempt to keep the shoe locked down. In the end, the shoe is fast, it's light, it's nimble, and it's ready for race day. But there are some fatal flaws that keep the Zinal 2 from being in my constant trail running rotation. We're going to find out what those are in today's review. Let's dive in.
Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan DeGray, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner review. Excited about this one because I've been running this one for quite some time, and about time I share my thoughts with y'all. From HOKA, it is the Zinal 2. I don't know why I laughed like that, and I apologize in advance. Before we get into the review, of course, just a couple of things to point out. In the description, there is a link over to Patreon. It is how people support this channel. It is also how you join the GR crew. It is an amazing group of runners from around the world, just like yourself, training for races and inspiring one another. There's a Discord server, there's daily live streams. Highly encourage you to check it out if you have not already. Bunch of different tiers, all different levels, and we would love for you to join the community. It's a great group of humans. Second, as with all of my reviews, the Ginger Runner disclaimer is that this shoe was provided for review by Running Warehouse. I'm under no obligation whatsoever to say anything positive or negative. I'm not financially compensated in any way for anything that I say in this review. All opinions are my own. No one has to approve it. You're the first to see it, so give yourself a pat on the Zinal. And let's dive in, starting as always with the basics, the things that I like and dislike about every product that I review. Let's start with the likes. What do you think? Nimble and race ready. So one thing that this shoe does even better than the original Zinal, which I have somewhere on my wall of shoes over there, is that it stays nimble and ready for race day. It's light, it's low to the ground, it's low slung, and from a brand like HOKA, who's renowned for that extra cushioning and super stack, for them to do a shoe like this that keeps you low to the ground, plenty of ground feel, and keeps you fast and ready to go without a bunch of nonsense like plates and everything in between. The shoe does a great job of that, and I think it improves upon the original Zinal by just like feeling more race ready. Light. 239 grams, 8.4 ounces in my size 11. That is an extremely lightweight for a trail shoe that can go the distance. It really does feel like a road flat or something very, very minimal, but it still has enough protection underfoot that can get you through longer distances if you really need to. And simplicity. So one thing that I liked to see carry over from that first version is just how simple this shoe is. It's a reduced layer of midsole. You've got Vibram light base outsole. You've got this mesh upper that's super thin with limited welded overlays, and then sort of a knit collar and a lacing system that kind of locks the shoe down. I'm just kind of using generalities here, but the reality is it's a very simple shoe, very simple platform, very light, and it gets the job done. That being said, it's not all crisp fall days with sun and cider and dolphin diving trapper keepers. There are a couple of things that I dislike about the Zinal too. Let's get to this now. The fit. Unfortunately, because of the simplicity and sort of the reduced number of elements here, the fit of the shoe can't really be dialed in a way that makes it super succinct or trustworthy on super technical terrain or anything that involves any movement of the foot laterally. It's difficult to get a good ankle lockdown because of the number of lace holes has been reduced. You don't actually have the ability to do the laces lockdown option. Then there's no break in the upper, so you have this knit mesh which goes all the way down through the vamp, and then this harder plasticine mesh that kind of takes up the rest of the shoe. So you end up getting fabrics that sort of overlap each other as you begin to tighten down the shoe, and there's not a lot of adjustability. Despite the fact that the shoe is a bit narrower and more precise fit, my foot and my ankle just wanted to move around in this thing all the time, and even in the forefoot, my foot wanted to kind of rotate a little bit. So the fit is sloppy, and that sucks because I thought the original Zinal did okay in the fit department. Comfort. The midsole is fine. It's actually pretty energetic. It's really soft and fun. It's not super thick, so you don't lose a lot of that ground feel. Where I found problems was where the vamp folds, you end up getting this mesh sort of creasing and rubbing the top of your foot. There's other uppers in the past that have done very similar things in other shoes. And then when you start to tighten down the laces across this tongue, which is all built in here, it's just this knit fabric that is very stretchy and kind of thin. You do end up getting some lace bite or some fabric overlap. So it's just not a very comfortable upper. Midsole's fine, if not a bit reduced. Upper's the problem. And finally, zone specific. So I don't think this is quite as adaptable as the original for multiple zones. So we're talking like dry trails, buffed out single track. This shoe is gonna absolutely excel for those of you who want to go fast. If we're dealing with super technical terrain, like I cannot imagine the shoe running hard rock or any of the really difficult long ultras over super technical terrain. For example, Zinal, the race in which the shoe gets its name from. I can only imagine the shoe working in those types of environments if you're that human who's actually a goat in a human skin suit, and it didn't matter what you attached to your feet. It could be duct tape and applesauce and you'd be sticking to everything like nobody's business. I just move around too much in the shoe to feel comfortable or trust it on anything even remotely technical. But that's it for dislikes, so let's get a bit more specific in our breakdown, talking about the build quality, comfort, fit, price, and looks, starting with build quality. You know, I don't mind the build of the shoe because it does build off that simple package. You have a mesh upper attached to the midsole, to the Vibram outsole. It all comes together fine. It's the material choices. I don't necessarily like this mesh up top. You got crease issues, lace bite. The midsole might break down a bit prematurely. It doesn't provide a ton of protection from the ground. Comfort, it's a comfortable shoe if you are in that race environment, maybe not running super long distances. For me, bigger guy, I kind of enjoyed it for anywhere from 5 to 10 miles. Anything past that, and I would just choose a different shoe. And that's not just because of the midsoles, because many other comfortable elements, from the upper to the lace bite to just everything. Fit, that was a big problem with the shoe, just getting a good proper fit through the vamp, through the midfoot. I couldn't really get it dialed in around the ankle, especially, and my foot still wanted to move around in this thing. And the tighter you crank it down to get a better fit, the more it's painful. So that's a big negative. Price at $160, that's certainly teetering on the upper echelon of price points that I would even consider for this type of shoe, because it is so reduced and it is meant for race day and for a very specific type of runner. That is a lot of money to spend on a shoe that might not go the distance. So there's other shoes that I would find more protective, more comfortable at lower price points. $160 is a lot to pay. And finally, looks. I actually kind of like the looks. I actually don't mind this black with the orange. 'Tis the season, a little bit Halloween-y, but honestly, simple and bold and monochromatic in a way. I dig it. I actually dig the simplicity here. Bringing us to our conclusion. Honestly, I'm a bit bummed. I really enjoyed the Zinal. I don't hate the Zinal 2, but I certainly think they took some steps forward and a couple of steps backward in the development of this shoe. So I'm not quite sure where this fits. Has a promising start, just a dramatic change in design between the years. It reminds me, honestly, a lot of the Ultra Mont Blanc. Just like I couldn't get that shoe to work on my foot. I know plenty of ultra elites that love that shoe and will probably love this shoe, but remember, they're sponsored athletes that are paid to be in those shoes. So for the regular athletes like me, there's just other shoes that I would grab first. Bringing us to our final criteria, is the Zinal 2 a buy, try, or a why? At $160, I would definitely push this more towards the why category. If you are looking for something low, light, fast, and, you know, grippy on drier surfaces, this would be a try. But for me, right now, where I am as a runner, this doesn't really fit into my rotation as something that I'm like loving. So for me, it's a why. Tables now turn to you, my friends. What do you think of the Zinal 2? Is it something that you're interested in? Let me know in the comments of this video. I'm super curious. Let's get the conversation going. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, join the GR crew, grab some of this merch. It's all available. And that's pretty much it. If you want more information, or if you would like to get a pair of the Zinal 2s or any trail shoe, road shoe, apparel, nutrition, we have links in the description. It'll take you over to Running Warehouse. Consider using those links. They do help the channel out, but they do cost you nothing. It's just sort of like throwing a couple bucks back our way and getting some cool gear in the process. And if you're a GR crew member, use the coupon. Coupon works for 10% off pretty much almost everything. Consider it. That's it. Hope you're getting out there training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest. I know I am. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.